Morning everyone from the Isle of Arran. I'm here for the weekend this time. I'm hosting a walk this morning over on the Clochland Hills, and this afternoon I'll be heading out a walk and for a bite to eat, and then I'll come back to you later when I have my plans for this evening, which I will reveal later on in the video. So stick around and we'll see you soon. I'm out for a walk along the coastline of Corrie, which is situated on the east side of the Isle of Arran. I've come across the Doctor's Bath. Some interesting facts about the Doctor's Bath. In 1835, Dr. Macready, who was the doctor on the island, had this bath cut into the sandstone on the shore at Corrie. It features a number of channels that allow the basin to fill up with the seawater when the tide reached a certain level. So I headed into Loch Ranza for the night. My big reveal was that I have converted my car to sleep in tonight, so I'm doing a spot of car camping, and I'm really looking forward to it, especially as the stags are all out and bellowing and making lots of noise. My view for the night overlooking Loch Ranza Castle. I went for a walk at dusk to the castle, and I could hear the stags bellowing and communicating with each other in the distance. The sound was echoing all around in the glen. Loch Ranza is my favourite village on the Isle of Arran. It's surrounded by the hills, it has the loch, and the scenery is just gorgeous. This is my car. I set it up before I left home. As you can see, it's super cosy. The theme is obviously autumn, with leaves hanging around, with the fairy lights and my fox blanket, a couple of books. I've brought along my 16-year-old dog as well, so she is excited to camp, and yeah, really looking forward to it. So I will see you in the morning. 6 a.m. and I was woken by the sound of this stag walking past my car. I took an early morning walk to the castle, and all I could hear all around me were the stags bellowing to each other across the glen. just south of Loch Ranza, I came upon the sailor's grave. In 1854, a ship was anchored in the bay off Loch Ranza. A man by the name of John McLean had died on board, and the crew wanted to bury him in Loch Ranza. However, the people of Loch Ranza were fearful that the body of this sailor might bring the plague to the village, so they refused to allow the body to be buried in the churchyard. The ship's crew had no better luck along the coast at Catacall, where the people also refused to allow the sailor to be buried within the village. A compromise was reached whereby the sailor was buried by the roadside between the two villages. It has become a custom for people to deposit a pebble from the beach upon the sailor's grave as they pass by. These are the cottages in Catacall, known as the 12 Apostles. When farmers were cleared from their homes in the mid-1800s during the Scottish clearances, many were relocated to coastal areas where it was hoped they would begin new lives as fishermen. Those relocated to the village of Catacall on Arran were offered cottages with a unique feature to help them adapt to life on the seas. Each of these dwellings, known as the 12 Apostles, was built with a different shaped window upstairs. The theory behind this architectural oddity was that a wife in urgent need of her husband could light a candle in the window. The fishermen would see the uniquely shaped lights shining across the dark Firth of Clyde and return home. I've actually walked here before. There's a good parking spot here. You head up this track and about 2 miles up there, further on and up into the hills, you come to a lochen. It's got its own little beach, white sand. You can go further on into the mountains actually up there, or you can just walk the 2 miles up to the lochen. Look at this for a view. Got a swan feeding down there. You're looking over to Kintyre. This area is called Pernmill. It's not really a village, it's smaller than that, but it does have a restaurant and a village shop. It's right by the coast, the Firth of Clyde, although we're on the west side of the Isle of Arran, looking over to Kintyre. Got a nice little chair here, single seat, which is quite unusual to sit and admire the view. If you have to wait for the bus, you've got a couple of chairs, which seems to be a thing in Arran. Every bus stop I've passed has seats in it. Another nice bench there. Got a memorial garden here. To the fallen men of Pernmill District. A couple of benches there, it's very nice. A sign there, post office, sweets, groceries and off sales. And you've got an art studio up the track. This little bridge, this is beautiful. Wow. And you've got the run-of-the-mill village shop and post office. And the Lighthouse restaurant. My next stop is going to be the King's Caves, which is on the southwest coast of the island. But first, coffee and a cookie. Arran has a great history of smuggling in days gone by, and of course that wouldn't happen without lots of caves in which to store the much sought after Arran water, as the illicit whisky was called. However, the caves were used for many years before this as homes, as religious meeting places, and even as schools. The most famous caves on Arran are on the west coast and are known as the King's Caves. There are several caves, and the main cave is where Robert the Bruce was inspired by the spider he saw try and retry to spin his web. This was the deciding factor in him trying once again to pick himself up and fight for the Scottish throne, which he successfully did in 1314 at the Battle of Bannockburn. The caves can be accessed either from Blackwaterfoot or via the forestry car park near Macquarie, which is a circular route. The circular route is 3 miles long. The sea level around Arran was once over 30 foot higher than it is now, so there is a steep descent to get down onto the beach. The caves were formed around 10,000 to 6,000 years ago during an ice age, when the weight of an advancing glacier forced the land downward. In January 1909, an archaeological dig was conducted within the cave. A 32-foot-long trench was dug and examined, but aside from a small bronze ornament and some animal bones, nothing of interest was found, so the dig was halted on the 4th day. Kilmorey Parish Church records suggest that the cave may have been used for church meetings in the 18th century, and it is also said to have been used as a school. Before being known as the King's Cave, it was known as Fingal's Cave, after a figure in Irish mythology. And here we are once again at Rutting, the ferry terminal, where I'm due to get on the ferry to take me home. We've spent a wonderful weekend on Arran. If you haven't been over to the island, I'd highly recommend it. So many things to do, and if you need any advice or any suggestions, drop me a message and I would be really happy to help. I've been over here so many times. It's my favourite place on earth. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.